Let's go next to let's go to Dave from Brooklyn. Dave, you are on the air.
Hey, David, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
First thing, I just wanted to thank you because every day on my drive home from work, I listen to you on YouTube and gets me through the traffic. So.
Thank you. I appreciate
that. Because I have a New York City commute. I'm a high school teacher in the Bronx, and I wanted to get your opinion about something because I have been frustrated for a few years now about the lack of progress that comes from the Democratic Party as far as, I'm a liberal-minded person, but I don't really identify as Democrat anymore because we keep, I don't want to say losing, it's the wrong word, but we keep failing to pass meaningful progressive legislation.
Mm.
And I think a lot of it is due to complacency, which I think comes back to something you talk about a lot, which is lack of epistemological skills. And I wanted your opinion on, I see that as a teacher on both sides, and I just feel that because on the left we get fed more accurate information and our media sources are generally more honest, therefore it doesn't get shown as much as it does on the right. But I feel, and this is what I want your opinion on, that because of our failing education system in a lot of ways, we don't have, on the left, we also lack a lot of those epistemological skills, and I'm afraid that in the future that may come to the forefront in a way that's more meaningful than it does right now. Because on the left, on the right, obviously, it has come to the forefront.
So I think that you're not wrong that the left the left suffers from a lack of epistemological skills too, to some degree. I don't think that's actually the source of the left being ineffective in the United States. I think it's actually a lack of rhetorical skill. I think it's and George Lakoff has written about this a lot. Thomas Frank has talked about this a lot. We on the left, when you actually sit down and explain to people, not with a one-line slogan, like if you think about the one-line slogans on abortion, right? Hey, the right is pro-life. Anything other than that is anti-life. That's really effective if you just go with a one-liner. When you really sit down with people and you explain stuff to them, whether it's about, 10 years ago when you really talked in detail about gay marriage, or you talk about healthcare now, or whatever the case may be, the country is much more on the left than the representatives that we elect. So what's the problem? I don't think it's lack of epistemological skill. I think it's lack of rhetorical skill by the left, combined with, and this is the other part that's important, lack of a willingness to sort of just like power through the way that the right does it. I mean, what Mitch McConnell, I find to be a vile and immoral person, but he's essentially a Republican hero, not only for what he's been able to get done for Republicans over the last decade, but what he's been able to stop Democrats from doing. Like, if you're a Republican, you've got to love Mitch McConnell for what he's been able to do. So I think the deficits for the Democrats are twofold. One, lack of rhetorical skill in talking about these issues in ways that connect with voters more. And number two, sort of a lack of willingness to, I'm not saying go low in like commit crimes and do immoral things, but like get down and really use whatever legal methods we can use to actually get things done. I think those are the issues.
May I ask a very short follow-up question?
Yeah, of course.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, so I heard you talk about a couple of days ago on your show when you were talking about, you were showing clips of some Trump supporters at CPAC.
Yeah.
And they were talking about getting out and doing local activism.
Right.
I was just wondering, was what you're talking about related in any way to like the long-term effects of gerrymandering and the drug war and local voter populations and all that kind of stuff? Because that seems to be a place where maybe in the long run, Democrats can improve.
Absolutely. And I guess that would be the third piece, which is the right is just better at local politics than the left. It sucks that that's the case, but they're just, and by better, I don't mean they're like inherently better. I don't mean they're smarter. They're just doing it. They're carrying it out in a more effective way. And that includes school boards, PTA, city councilors, et cetera. The Democrat, I'm not a Democrat either. I don't really care about the Democratic Party as a party. To the extent that we can get some progressive things done through the Democratic Party, great. But I don't find it to be a remotely competent political party.
Thank you so much, David.
My pleasure. All right. Wow. Excellent. These callers are basically as good as the guests we were going to have. So really can't complain.